Verse for opening a sutra. The unsurpassed profound and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of aeons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. The Flower Adornment Sutra, Chapter 29, The 10 Patiences. At that time, Universal Worthy Bodhisattva said to all the Bodhisattvas, disciples of the Buddha, Bodhisattvas Mahasattvas should embody 10 kinds of patience. If they acquire these patiences, they will attain the ground of unhindered patience of all Bodhisattvas and be unimpeded and unlimited with respect to all Buddha Dharmas. What are the 10? They are patience with sounds, patience with the agreeable, patience with a state of mind in which no mental objects arise, patience in perceiving all as illusions, patience in perceiving all as mirages, patience in perceiving all as dreams, patience in perceiving all as echoes, patience in perceiving all as reflections, patience in perceiving all as conjured effects, and patience in perceiving all as the void. These 10 kinds of patience have been proclaimed, are being proclaimed, and shall be proclaimed by all Buddhas in the 3 periods of time. Disciples of the Buddha, what constitutes the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's patience with sounds? It means that when he hears the sounds of Dharma being proclaimed by all the Buddhas, he is not alarmed, frightened, or overawed. Rather, with deep faith and understanding, he awakens to the Dharma, pursues it with delight, recollects it with a focused mind, learns and practices it, and abides steadfastly in it. This is called patience with sounds, the first kind of patience of a Bodhisattva Mahasattva. Disciples of the Buddha, what constitutes the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's patience with the agreeable? The Bodhisattva ponders and contemplates all Buddha Dharmas, regards them impartially, and does not violate them, complies with and understands them, purifies his mind with them, abides properly in and practices them, and enters and becomes accomplished in them. This is called patience with the agreeable, the second kind of patience of a Bodhisattva Mahasattva. Disciples of the Buddha, what constitutes the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's patience with a state of mind in which no mental objects arise? Disciples of the Buddha, this Bodhisattva Mahasattva perceives neither the slightest Dharma coming into being, nor the slightest Dharma ceasing to be. Why is this? Where there is no coming into being, there is no ceasing to be. Where there is no ceasing to be, there is no reaching an end. Where there is no reaching an end, there is freedom from defilement. Where there is freedom from defilement, there is no discrimination. Where there is no discrimination, there is no attachment to a location. When there is no attachment to a location, there is tranquility. Where there is tranquility, there is renouncing of desires. Where there is renouncing of desires, there is absence of effort. Where there is effortlessness, there is no longing. Where there is no longing, there is no residing. Where there is no residing, there is no going or coming. This is called patience with the state of mind in which no mental objects arise, the third kind of patience of a Bodhisattva Mahasattva. Disciples of the Buddha, what constitutes the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's patience in perceiving all as illusions? Disciples of the Buddha, this Bodhisattva Mahasattva realizes that all Dharmas, invariably are like illusions arising from causes and conditions. Through a single Dharma, he understands many Dharmas. Through many Dharmas, he understands a single Dharma. Once this bodhisattva realizes that all dharmas are like illusions, he fathoms lands, beings, and dharma realms. He realizes the equality of worlds, the equality of the appearances of Buddhas, and equality of the three periods of time. He accomplishes all kinds of spiritual powers and transformations, just as an illusion is not an elephant, not a horse, not a carriage, not a pedestrian, not a man, not a woman, not a boy, not a girl, not a tree, not a leaf, not a flower, not a fruit, not earth, not water, not fire, not wind, not day, not night, not sun, not moon, not half a moon, not 1 month, not 1 year, not 100 years, not 1 aeon, not many aeons, not concentration, not distraction, nor is it homogeneous, nor heterogeneous, nor uniform, nor variable, nor broad, nor narrow, nor abundant, nor scarce, nor finite, nor infinite, nor coarse, nor fine, nor any of the various kinds of phenomena or their aspects. The various phenomena are not illusions. Illusions are not the various phenomena. Yet due to illusions, various different phenomena manifest. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva is the same way. He regards all worlds as illusory, namely, the world of karma, the world of afflictions, the world of lands, the world of dharmas, the world of time, the world of inclinations, the world of formation, the world of destruction, the world of movement, and the world of deliberate action. When the Bodhisattva Mahasattva contemplates all worlds as illusory, he perceives no beings coming into being, no beings ceasing to be, no lands coming into being, no lands ceasing to be, no dharmas coming into being, and no dharmas ceasing to be. He does not see a past that can be differentiated, a future that is evolving, or a present that maintains its status quo even for the space of a single thought. He neither contemplates Bodhi nor differentiates Bodhi. He neither sees the Buddha's appearance nor sees the Buddha's nirvana. He neither sees them as having dwelt in great vows, nor sees them as having entered the proper position of Buddhahood. He never goes beyond their being equally illusory. Although this bodhisattva accomplishes Buddha lands, he knows that lands have no differentiation. Although he is accomplished in the realms of sentient beings, he knows that there is no differentiation among sentient beings. Although he contemplates the entire Dharma realm, he abides peacefully in the Dharma nature, tranquil and unmoving. Although he comprehends the equality of the three periods of time, he does not violate the convention of differentiating the three periods of time. Although he realizes the emptiness of the skandhas and the locations, he forever severs all dependencies. Although he liberates sentient beings, he realizes that all in the Dharma realm are equal and devoid of the various differences. Although he knows that all dharmas are beyond language and inexpressible, he always speaks the Dharma with infinite eloquence. Although he is not attached to the work of transforming sentient beings, he does not renounce great compassion, and he turns the Dharma wheel to rescue all. Although he expounds past causes and conditions for them, he knows that causes and conditions are essentially devoid of evolvement. This is called patience in perceiving all as illusions, the fourth kind of patience of a bodhisattva, mahasattva. Disciples of the Buddha, what constitutes the bodhisattva mahasattva's patience in perceiving all as mirages? Disciples of the Buddha, this bodhisattva mahasattva knows that all worldly phenomena resemble mirages. Like mirages, they have no location, are neither inside nor outside, neither existent nor non-existent, neither annihilated nor eternal, neither of one color nor of many colors nor colorless. They are simply spoken of and manifested according to the beings of the world. The bodhisattva in this way practices genuine contemplation. He understands all dharmas and at once realizes all levels of cultivation, thus attaining perfection. This is called patience in perceiving all as mirages, the fifth kind of patience of a bodhisattva, mahasattva. Disciples of the Buddha, what is meant by the bodhisattva mahasattva's patience in perceiving all as dreams? Disciples of the Buddha, this bodhisattva mahasattva knows that all worldly phenomena resemble dreams. Like dreams, they are neither of the world nor apart from the world. They are neither of the desire realm, nor of the form realm, nor of the formless realm. They neither come into being, nor cease to be. They are neither defiled nor pure, and yet they make their appearance. The bodhisattva mahasattva is the same way. He understands all in the world are the same as dreams in their absence of change. They resemble dreams in their lack of inherent nature, in the attachments they produce, in their separateness from the inherent nature, in their fundamental nature, in their manifestations, in their lack of disparities, in their discriminatory thinking, and in the insight derived when one awakens from them. This is called patience in perceiving all as dreams, the sixth kind of patience of a bodhisattva mahasattva. Disciples of the Buddha, what constitutes the bodhisattva mahasattva's patience in perceiving all as echoes? Disciples of the Buddha, this bodhisattva mahasattva listens to Buddha speaking the Dharma, contemplates the nature of all dharmas, perfects his study and cultivation, and arrives at the opposite shore. He knows that all sounds are like echoes, in that they neither come nor go, but merely seem to exist. Disciples of the Buddha, this bodhisattva mahasattva contemplates how the thus come one sound comes neither from within nor from without, nor from in between, within and without. Although he comprehends that their sound comes neither from within nor from without, nor from in between, he realizes that the words and phrases spoken are the manifestation of skillful and clever expedients. Like echoes in a valley, this sound arises from conditions, yet remains unopposed to the Dharma nature. It causes all sentient beings to gain the kind of understanding appropriate to their individual differences, thereby enabling them to cultivate and study. Consider Lord Shakra's wife, the Asura king's daughter, Sachi, who can, without conscious intention, produce 1,000 kinds of sound in a single sound. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva is the same way. He enters the realm of non-discrimination, masters a versatile sound that adapts to beings of different capacities, and eternally turns the Dharma wheel in boundless worlds. This Bodhisattva Mahasattva can expertly observe all sentient beings and expound the Dharma to them by means of the hallmark of a vast, long tongue. His voice pervades the lands of the 10 directions without hindrance, enabling all therein to hear the Dharma as suited to their individual differences. Though the Bodhisattva knows that sound arises from nowhere, he manifests sounds everywhere. Though he knows there is nothing to say, he extensively expounds all the Dharma. The impartiality of his wonderful voice allows every kind of sentient being to understand in his or her own way and to attain thorough realization through his or her own wisdom. This is called patience in perceiving all as echoes, the 7th kind of patience of a Bodhisattva Mahasattva. Disciples of the Buddha. What constitutes the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's patience in perceiving all as reflections? Disciples of the Buddha. This Bodhisattva Mahasattva is neither born in the world nor dies in the world, is neither within the world nor outside the world, neither cultivates in the world nor fails to cultivate in the world, is neither the same as nor different from those in the world, neither goes to the world nor fails to go to the world, neither dwells in the world nor does not dwell in the world, and is neither of the world nor beyond the world. He neither cultivates the Bodhisattva's practices nor renounces his magnificent vows. He attaches neither to reality nor to unreality. Although he constantly practices the Dharma of all Buddhas, he is able to manage all worldly affairs. He neither drifts with the worldly currents nor dwells in the Dharma flow. It is like how the sun, the moon, men, women, houses, mountains, forests, rivers, springs, and so forth are reflected in oil, water, physical entities, gems, mirrors, and other clear surfaces. A reflection is neither the same as nor different from the oil and other substances. It neither separates from nor merges with them. A reflection neither gets carried adrift in a river or stream, nor sinks in a pond or well, appearing therein, yet all the while untainted. Sentient beings may perceive a reflection as being at one location and not another, but although objects far and near all have reflections, the distance of a reflection does not correspond to the distance of its object. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva is the same way. He can perceive his own body as well as those of others. His wisdom allows him to perceive these states, yet he does not interpret them as dual and speak of himself and others as being different. He simultaneously appears everywhere, in his own country and other countries, all of which are distinctively different from each other. Just as a seed does not have roots, shoots, stems, nodes, branches, or leaves, yet is capable of producing such things, so too is the Bodhisattva Mahasattva capable in the same way. With expedient means he distinguishes duality in that which is non-dual, and yet he thoroughly understands the non-obstructive reality. This is called patience in perceiving all as reflections, the 8th kind of patience of a Bodhisattva Mahasattva. When the Bodhisattva Mahasattva achieves this patience, then without traveling to the lands of the 10 directions, he is able to appear everywhere in all Buddha lands. He neither leaves this place nor goes to those places. Like a reflection, he appears everywhere, and thus his practice is unobstructed. He causes sentient beings to perceive his different bodies as having the same material reality as all worldly objects. Yet these different forms are actually not different. Difference and non-difference are mutually non-obstructive. This bodhisattva is born in the thus come one's lineage, pure and unimpeded in his body, speech, and thought. Therefore, he is able to attain a pure body, capable of assuming boundless physical forms. Disciples of the Buddha. What constitutes the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's patience in perceiving all as conjured effects? Disciples of the Buddha. This Bodhisattva Mahasattva knows that all worldly phenomena resemble conjured effects. That is, all sentient beings' mental deeds resemble conjured effects, for they result from awareness and thoughts. All worldly activities resemble conjured effects, for they result from discriminations. All misinterpretations of suffering and happiness resemble conjured effects, for they result from delusive craving. All unreal worldly dharmas resemble conjured effects, for they manifest through language and speech. And all afflictions and distinctions resemble conjured effects, for they result from cognition. Disciples of the Buddha. Furthermore, the purifying and taming of sentient beings resembles a conjured effect, for it manifests from non-discrimination. The Bodhisattva's steadfastness throughout the 3 periods of time resembles a conjured effect, for it is due to impartiality premised on non-arising. The Bodhisattva's vow power resembles a conjured effect, for it is established through extensive cultivation. The thus come one's great compassion resembles a conjured effect, for it is manifested by expediency. And the provisional turning of the Dharma will resembles a conjured effect, for it is expressed with eloquence arising from wisdom and fearlessness. Such is the Bodhisattva's understanding of worldly and transcendental conjured effects. His understanding, which is based on direct experience, extensive knowledge, boundless knowledge, factual knowledge, sovereign knowledge, and genuine knowledge, cannot be swayed by delusive views, nor does his conduct, which conforms to worldly conventions, contravene the truth. Consider the analogy of a conjured effect that arises neither from the mind, nor from mental dharmas, nor from karma. It is not subject to retribution. It neither is born in the world, nor perishes in the world. It cannot be pursued or grasped. It dwells neither for a long time, nor for a brief instant. It neither traverses the world, nor departs from the world. It is not bound exclusively to one location, nor does it belong to every location. It is neither measurable nor immeasurable. It neither grows weary and rests, nor is indefatigable. It is neither mortal nor divine, neither defiled nor pure. It undergoes neither birth nor death. It is neither wisdom nor foolishness. It is neither visible nor invisible. It neither relies on the mundane nor enters the Dharma realm. It is neither intelligent nor dull-witted. There is nothing to grasp at or relinquish. It is neither subject to birth and death, nor in nirvana. It neither exists nor does not exist. The Bodhisattva travels through worlds in this skillful, expedient manner, cultivating the Bodhisattva path. Well versed in the dharmas of all worlds, he sends transformation bodies to them. He is attached neither to the mundane nor to his own body. He does not discriminate with regard to the world or his body. He neither dwells in the world nor is apart from the world. He neither dwells in the Dharma nor is apart from the Dharma. Due to his past vows, he does not forsake a single realm of sentient beings, nor does he regulate only a few realms of sentient beings. He neither distinguishes among dharmas nor fails to distinguish among them. He knows that the dharma nature neither comes nor goes. Although there is nothing to it, he still feels sentient beings with the Buddha Dharma. He understands that dharmas are like conjured effects, neither existent nor non-existent. Disciples of the Buddha. When the Bodhisattva Mahasattva abides in the patience in perceiving all as conjured effects in this way, he can fulfill the path of Bodhi, cultivated by all Buddhas, and bring benefit to all beings. This is called patience in perceiving all as conjured effects, the ninth kind of patience of a Bodhisattva Mahasattva. When the Bodhisattva achieves this patience, everything he does resembles a conjured effect. He does not rely on any Buddhaland, cling to any worldly thing, or make distinctions within the Buddha Dharma, yet he proceeds towards the Buddha's body. Without weariness, cultivates the Bodhisattva practices, and renounces all confusion. Though he has no body, he manifests every kind of body. Though he has no abode, he dwells in every land. Though he has no form, he manifests every form. Though he is not attached to reality, he clearly perceives the impartial and perfect Dharma nature. Disciples of the Buddha. Since this Bodhisattva Mahasattva does not rely on any Dharma whatsoever, he is named the Liberated One. Having cast out all faults, he is named the Disciplined One. Unwavering and unflinching, he pervasively enters the assemblies of all thus come ones, and is known as One with spiritual powers. Having attained skillful means with regard to the non-arising of dharmas, he is named the non-retreating One. Endowed with such powers that even Sumeru and the Iron Ring Mountains cannot obstruct him, he is named the Unobstructed One. Disciples of the Buddha. What is the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's patience in perceiving all as the void? Disciples of the Buddha. This Bodhisattva Mahasattva understands that all Dharma realms resemble the void, in that they have no attributes. All worlds resemble the void, in that they do not arise. All dharmas resemble the void, in that they are non-dual. All sentient beings' deeds resembles the void, in that there is nothing done. All Buddhas resemble the void, in that they do not make distinctions. All Buddhas' powers resemble the void, in that they are undifferentiated. All dhyana samadhis resemble the void, in that the three periods of time become equal. All dharmas that are spoken resemble the void, in that they cannot be verbalized. And all Buddhist bodies resemble the void, in that they are free from attachment and impediment. The Bodhisattva thus uses the expedient of perceiving all as the void to fathom that all dharmas do not exist. Disciples of the Buddha. When the Bodhisattva Mahasattva comprehends all dharmas by means of the wisdom of the patience of perceiving all as the void, he attains a body and bodily karma that resemble the void, speech and speech karma that resemble the void, and a mind and mental karma that resemble the void. Just as the void sustains all dharmas, so that there is neither production nor destruction, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's dharma body likewise is free from birth and death. Just as the void is indestructible, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva's wisdom and powers likewise are indestructible. Just as the void serves as the refuge for all in the world, yet itself is not dependent on anything, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva likewise is the refuge for all dharmas, yet all the while independent. Just as the void is beyond birth and death, yet accommodates all births and deaths in the world, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva likewise is without aims or achievements, yet manifests aims and achievements, leading all those in the world to cultivate purity. Just as the void lacks boundaries, yet can manifest infinitely many boundaries, the Bodhisattva likewise has no karma or retribution, yet is able to manifest all sorts of karma and retribution. Just as the void neither travels nor remains still, yet can reveal all sorts of magnificence, likewise the Bodhisattva Mahasattva neither travels nor remains still, yet is able to discern all practices. Just as the void neither has form nor lacks form, yet can display all the various forms, likewise the Bodhisattva has neither worldly nor transcendental form, yet can display all forms. Just as the void is neither distant nor close, yet lasts forever and manifests all things, likewise the Bodhisattva Mahasattva is neither distant nor close, yet is able to dwell forever and display all the practices of bodhisattvas. Just as the void is neither clean nor polluted, yet not apart from cleanliness and pollution, likewise the Bodhisattva Mahasattva is neither impeded nor unimpeded, yet not apart from impediment and non-impediment. Just as the whole world appears before the void, yet the void does not appear before the whole world, likewise all dharmas appear before the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, yet he does not appear before all dharmas. Just as the void enters all and knows no bounds, likewise the Bodhisattva Mahasattva enters all dharmas, and his Bodhisattva resolve knows no bounds. Why is that? The reason is that what the Bodhisattva does is like the void, that is to say, all his cultivation, all his adornment and purification, and all his accomplishments are completely impartial, being of one single substance, flavor, and capacity, and resembling the void in its purity and all-pervasiveness. In this way, the Bodhisattva certifies to the knowledge of all dharmas and does not discriminate among any of them. He adorns and purifies all Buddhalands, perfects all independent bodies, and discerns all directions without confusion. He possesses all powers and cannot be vanquished. He has perfected all the boundless, meritorious virtues, plumbed the depths of all profound dharmas, and mastered all paramitas. Sitting on all Vajra seats everywhere, he universally utters sounds that accord with all kinds of beings. He turns the Dharma wheel for the sake of those in all worlds without ever missing the right opportunity. This is called patience in perceiving all as the void, the 10th kind of patience of a Bodhisattva Mahasattva. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva, upon accomplishing these kinds of patience, attains a body that comes from nowhere, since it goes nowhere. He attains a body that is unproduced, since it never ceases to be. He attains a body that is unmoving, since it never decays. He attains a body that is unreal, since it is beyond falseness. He attains a body of a single attribute, since it is free of attributes. He attains limitless bodies, since Buddha's powers are limitless. He attains an impartial body, since it is identical to thusness. He attains an undifferentiated body as a result of impartially contemplating the 3 periods of time. He attains a body that reaches all places, since his pure eyes perceive impartially without hindrance. he attains the body free from desires, since he knows that all dharmas neither unite nor separate. He attains the body as boundless as the void, since he has a treasury of blessings and virtue as inexhaustible as the void. He attains a body endowed with impartial eloquence based in the infinite and perpetual Dharma nature, because he knows that the marks of all dharmas are just a single mark, and that their nature is no nature like the void. He attains a body of measureless and unobstructed sound, because he is unobstructed like the void. He attains a body endowed with all skillful, pure bodhisattva practices, because he is unhindered in all places like the void. He attains a body of the successive continuity of the oceans of all Buddha Dharmas, because like the void it cannot be brought to an end. He attains a body that can display limitless Buddha lands in every Buddha land, since he is free from greed and attachment, and is boundless like the void. He attains a body that can display all sovereign dharmas without rest, for it resembles the void and the ocean in their boundlessness. He attains a body of all indestructible and solid strengths as a result of sustaining all worlds like the void. He attains a body endowed with keen faculties and as strong and indestructible as Vajra, because like the void he cannot be burned by any of the kalpic fires. He attains a body with the strength to uphold the entire world as a result of having power of wisdom like the void. Disciples of the Buddha. These are the 10 kinds of patience of a bodhisattva mahasattva. At that time, universal worthy bodhisattva mahasattva, wishing to restate the meaning of his teachings, spoke the following verses. Take, for example, a person in the world who learns of the sight of a treasured truth. The prospect of uncovering it is cause of great joy in his heart. That is what happens when the greatly wise bodhisattva, true disciple of the Buddha, encounters the Dharma of all Buddhas, which is profound, tranquil, and markless. Upon hearing this profound Dharma, his mind is set at peace, free from panic and terror, free from every fear. The great knight in quest of Bodhi hears this extensive sound. With a mind pure and patient, he is free of doubt in this regard. Mindful of the Dharma he has heard, in all its profound, subtle wonder, he is bound to accomplish all wisdom and be a great teacher for humans and gods. The bodhisattva who hears this sound rejoices in his heart and brings forth a resolute vow to seek the Dharma of all Buddhas. Through his delight for Bodhi, his mind is gradually subdued, and his faith made to grow. He neither opposes nor disparages the Dharma. Hence, when he hears this sound, in his mind patience takes root, wherein he dwells without wavering, to cultivate the bodhisattva's practices. In his quest for Bodhi, he focuses his cultivation on its path. Vigorous and never retreating, he dismisses no beneficial restraints. Seeking the path of Bodhi, his mind is free from fear. Hearing the Dharma, he grows more vigorous in presenting offerings to the Buddhas to delight them. Just as a person of great blessings who acquires a treasury of fine gold, carries the gold with him, fashioning it into ornaments, in the same way, the bodhisattva, hearing the Dharma's profound meaning, ponders it, expanding his oceanic wisdom, and cultivates the Dharma of compliance. He understands to accord with the existence of Dharmas. He understands to accord with the non-existence of Dharmas. In this way, He tallies with every dharma, thus achieving an understanding of all dharmas. Accomplishing the pure mind brings thorough understanding and great joy. Knowing that dharmas arise from conditions, he cultivates with diligent zeal. Impartially contemplating all dharmas, he comes to know their inherent nature. Not opposing the treasury of Buddha Dharma, he awakens universally to all dharmas. Constantly fortifying his resolve with joy, he thereby purifies and adorns the Buddha's body. Immovable as Mount Sumeru, he single-mindedly quests for right enlightenment. With vigorous resolve, he cultivates the path of samadhi. Through measureless aeons of diligent practice, he never retreats or falters. The Dharma the Bodhisattva enters is what is practiced by the Buddhas. Comprehending this principle, his mind never grows weary or lax. As a peerless one taught, he regards all dharmas impartially, bearing everything equally with patience. He is able to achieve the wisdom of impartiality. Following what the Buddhas taught, he accomplishes the dharma of patience. Understanding the dharmas in accord with thusness, he does not differentiate among them. In the heaven of the 33, all the celestial princes share a single vessel of food, yet every prince's food tastes different. The various foods that are eaten do not come from the 10 directions. According to the karma of their cultivation, these foods naturally appear in the vessel. A similar thing happens to bodhisattvas as they contemplate all dharmas, which arise from causes and conditions, yet do not come into being or cease to be. Since they do not cease to be, they have no end. Since they have no end, they are free of defilement. Thus, regarding the ever-changing worldly dharmas, the bodhisattva knows them to be beyond change. Without change, there is no location. Without a location, there is quiescence. With his mind undefiled by attachments, he vows to liberate all sentient beings. Concentrating on the Buddha Dharma, he is never distracted or moved. With a heart of compassionate vows, he acts expediently in the world. Diligent in his quest for the 10 powers, he abides in the world but does not dwell, neither going nor coming. He expediently and skillfully expounds the Dharma. This patience is supreme. Understanding that dharmas are endless, he enters the true Dharma realm without actually entering anything. The bodhisattva dwelling in this patience universally sees all thus come once, simultaneously bestowing a prediction upon him. This is called being offered a position by the Buddhas. Comprehending that dharmas in the 3 periods of time are characterized by stillness and purity, he is able to transform sentient beings and set them in a wholesome path. All the various dharmas in the world are nothing more than illusions. Once the bodhisattva can understand them thus, his mind will not be swayed. All karma is born from the mind, but since the mind is said to be like an illusion, if one leaves these discriminations, all paths of existence will be extinguished. The mind is like a magician who conjures up every image, causing the crowd to crave them with delight. Ultimately, there is nothing there. The world is also thus. All things are the illusions, without a nature or an origin, in spite of their manifold appearances. The bodhisattva liberates sentient beings, leading them to realize that dharmas are illusory. Beings are no different from illusions. Once illusion is understood, there are no beings. Sentient beings, countries, and all dharmas in the three periods of time are without exception no more than illusions. The mind conjures up illusory men and women, elephants, horses, oxen, sheep, cottages, pools, springs, and such, groves, flowers, fruits, and the like. These illusory things have no sentience, nor any place where they dwell. Characterized by ultimate quiescence, they manifest in response to discriminations. The Bodhisattva, in this way, contemplates all in the world, all dharmas, conditioned or unconditioned, he understands to be illusory. Sentient beings and lands are created by various kinds of karma, entering the illusion-like realm. The Bodhisattva relies on and attaches to nothing. Attaining skillful means in this way, the Bodhisattva is tranquil and free from sophistry. Dwelling on the ground of non-obstruction, he universally displays magnificent might. Courageous disciples of the Buddha comply with and enter the wonderful Dharma, deftly observe how every thought traps and entangles one in the world. The myriad thoughts resemble mirages, causing beings to be confused. The Bodhisattva recognizes the true nature of thoughts and leaves all confusion far behind. Sentient beings are each distinct, their forms and kinds not the same. Realize that everything comes from thought. There is no reality to anything. Sentient beings in the 10 directions are all obscured by their thoughts. If they could renounce confused perceptions, all worldly thoughts would cease to be. All beings in the world resemble mirages. They vary only according to thoughts. Knowing that the world is based on thoughts, one departs from the 3 kinds of confusion. Take the analogy of a mirage on a hot day. Most people perceive it as water. In actuality, there is no water at all, and the wise do not seek water there. For sentient beings, it is that way too. Their mundane inclinations are mirages, figments of their minds. Yet the state of their minds is unobstructed. As one transcends thoughts, one also abandons fallacious arguments. Then one becomes able to liberate those who foolishly cling to thoughts. Removed from arrogance, devoid of worldly thoughts, one dwells in a realm both finite and infinite. These are the Bodhisattva's expedients. The Bodhisattva realizes that mundane dharmas are all like dreams, neither somewhere nor nowhere. Essentially, they are eternally quiescent. There are no distinctions among dharmas. Like dreams, they are not beyond the mind. In all worlds, in the 3 periods of time, everything is just that way. Dreams in essence neither arise nor perish. They have no direction or location. The 3 realms are all this way. One who sees this attains liberation of mind. Dreams are neither of the world nor apart from the world. When such duality is no longer delineated, one enters the ground of patience. In a dream one may see an array of varied images. Everything in the world is also thus, not any different from a dream. He who dwells in dreamlike samadhi knows that everything mundane is like a dream, and yet not the same as one nor different, neither of one sort nor many. Sentient beings' karmic deeds in all lands may be defiled or pure. The Bodhisattva understands them exactly as they are, equivalent to dreams in every way. The Bodhisattva understands that his practices and the great vows he makes are all like dreams and in that way no different from the mundane. Knowing the world to be empty and still, He does not destroy worldly dharmas, for they are like images in a dream, varying in size and color. This is called patience in perceiving all as dreams. Through this, the bodhisattva understands worldly dharmas. He soon achieves unobstructed wisdom and saves vast flocks of beings. Cultivating practices such as these, the bodhisattva attains broad understanding. He skillfully perceives the nature of dharmas with no attachment to dharmas in his mind. In each and every world, all the various sounds are neither inside nor outside. He knows that they are all like echoes, just as in listening to echoes, one's mind does not discriminate among them. When the bodhisattva hears sounds, his mind is the same way. He reverently beholds all thus come once and listens to the sounds of the Dharma they speak. Measureless sutras are proclaimed. He listens, yet remains unattached. Just as echoes have no origin, sounds heard are the same way. Yet within the sounds Dharma can be discerned without any mystic or contradiction. He thoroughly understands all sounds, yet does not discriminate among them. Knowing that all sounds are empty and still, he sends forth pure, clear sounds everywhere. Knowing that Dharma is not a matter of language, he skillfully enters the wordless realm, and yet can use speech to reveal things, much as an echo resonates through the land. Comprehending the path of language, endowed with perception of sound, he realizes that sounds are essentially void, yet he speaks the language of the world. He reveals how all the sounds in the world are both the same and different. His sound pervades all places, enlightening the multitudes of beings. The bodhisattva who acquires this patience transforms the world with pure sounds. He expediently speaks about the 3 periods of time, but has no attachment to time. Wishing to benefit the world, he single-mindedly seeks after bodhi, constantly entering the Dharma nature. He entertains no discrimination. He observes that all things in the world are quiescent and devoid of an intrinsic nature, yet he constantly benefits beings, cultivating with an unwavering resolve. He neither dwells in the world nor separates himself from the world, relying on nothing in the world. He is nowhere dependent. He comprehends the nature of the mundane, yet is undefiled by and unattached to it. Without relying upon the world, he transforms and liberates those in the world. He completely knows the intrinsic nature of all the dharmas in the world. He understands that dharmas are non-dual, yet to non-duality he attaches not. His mind neither leaves the mundane, nor dwells in the mundane. It is not beyond the mundane that he cultivates all wisdom. Like a reflection in water, neither inside nor outside, the bodhisattva in quest of bodhi understands that the world is not the world. He neither dwells in nor transcends the mundane, for the mundane is beyond words. He is neither within nor without, appearing in the world like a reflection. Entering this profound meaning, he leaves defilement and gains total clarity, yet he does not forsake his original vow to be wisdom's lamp shining on all. The world has no boundaries, yet his wisdom infuses it to capacity. He transforms flocks of beings everywhere, enabling them to cast out all attachments. Contemplating the profound Dharma, he benefits the multitudes of beings, leading them to enter wisdom and cultivate every path to enlightenment. The bodhisattva observes all dharmas, realizing that they are all like conjured effects. Yet he undertakes practices resembling conjured effects, never forsaking them to the very end. In accord with the nature of conjured effects, he cultivates the Bodhi path. All dharmas resemble conjured effects, so do the bodhisattva's practices. Everything in all worlds and karma without measure are equally like conjured effects, dwelling ultimately in quiescence. All Buddhas in the three periods of time resemble conjured effects in every way, cultivating myriad practices based on their vows. They transform into thus come ones. The Buddhas, with great compassion, liberate and transform sentient beings. Such liberation is also like a conjured effect. By their transformative power, the Buddhas explain the Dharma. Knowing that all mundane things are conjured effects, the Bodhisattva does not discriminate among them. The various distinctions among conjured events result from differences in karma. Cultivating the practices of Bodhi, he adorns a treasury of conjured effects. With infinite good deeds he adorns it, just as karma creates the world. The Dharma of conjured effects is beyond discrimination and does not differentiate among dharmas. Both of these are quiescent, as are the Bodhisattva's practices. The sea of conjured effects is understood with wisdom. The nature of conjured effects imprints all worlds. Conjured effects neither come into being nor cease to be. The same is true of wisdom. With the 10 patience, he sagaciously observes sentient beings and all dharmas, how quiescent their essential nature is, like the void, belonging nowhere. Attaining to this void-like wisdom, he leaves all attachments behind forever. Like the void, empty of everything, he is unimpeded throughout the worlds. Patience in perceiving all as a void that he achieves. Its power, like the void, is inexhaustible. States of being resemble empty space, yet he discriminates not as to emptiness. The void has no essential nature. It is not subject to annihilation and is absent of various discriminations. The power of wisdom is also like this. Without a beginning, the void has neither a middle nor an end. Equally unfathomable in its expanse is the Bodhisattva's wisdom. With that he contemplates the nature of all dharmas, how everything is like the void, neither coming into being nor ceasing to be. That is the Bodhisattva's attainment. While abiding in the Dharma of emptiness, he still expounds for sentient beings, subduing all the demons through the expedience of this patience. Worldly characteristics, however different, are all empty of characteristics. Entering that which is uncharacterized, he regards all characteristics as equal. He uses a single expedient to universally enter all worlds. He knows the dharmas of the 3 periods of time to be equal in their void-like nature. His wisdom, his voice, the Bodhisattva's body, their nature is void-like, completely quiescent. These 10 kinds of patience are cultivated by the disciple of the Buddha. With his mind deftly dwelling in peace therein, he expounds dharmas for all sentient beings. Learning them well, he achieves great power, the power of dharma and the power of wisdom. Provide expedience on his path to Bodhi. Versed in the method of patience, he accomplishes unimpeded wisdom, excelling the multitudes in turning the unsurpassed Dharma wheel. His extensive practices are immeasurable in scope. Only the taming teacher's sea of wisdom can know them in detail. Renouncing the self for the sake of cultivation, he enters the profound Dharma nature. His mind constantly abides in pure Dharmas, with which he ministers to the multitudes. The number of sentient beings and dust motes in lands could still be reckoned, but no limit to the Bodhisattva's meritorious virtue can be ascertained. The Bodhisattva manages to achieve these 10 kinds of patience. His wisdom and practices remain unfathomable to the multitudes.